Hi guys, and welcome back to our second series for the day. The Nana and Friendship unfortunately has sailed for the year, but NYX Kyosei as well as Deviant Topaz's flags are still flying high, and we're about to find out just which ship gets sunk in this series. Of course, once again here on the panel with me is the lovely Zach. How do we feel about the series number 2?
I'm super excited for this particular one. Of course, it's always a heartbreaker to say goodbye to any of these teams, especially because this is the LCQ. Usually in the opens, we're pretty confident that we're going to be seeing them coming back around, but this is the last hurrah of the year for one of these teams. And both of them, honestly, have been playing out of their minds throughout this LCQ. Sure, they're in the lower bracket, but it was a hard-fought fight for both of these teams. And personally, I really feel like this is a matchup that has the potential to go all the way. Although, if I had to bet, and I was a betting woman, I would probably say that Deviant Topaz, they have a little bit of an advantage here. Not in the least because this is a matchup that already has happened once before, with Deviant Topaz being the ones to come out on top in that prior history. But look at this roster here. They're so cute, Jenny. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Kitty, man.
Honestly, the player photos for Game Changers this year are an absolute win. I just love how the teams, and a lot of them, like, they got their photos like professionally shot. You just know that they took effort into this. But of course, the roster for NYX, Kyosei, Delbisky, Piety, Sant D1 Khan, as well as Shuni on your screens right there. And as you were saying, right, this match today, I mean, whew, versus Deviant Topaz, I don't know if my bias is showing because my bias is showing. Okay, I'm gonna be real with that one. But yeah, NYX Kyosei, they started off very well on day number 1, getting that 2-0 over Nana and Friends 2 days ago, and then dropping down to the lower bracket 1 and 2 versus MLT, who are in the upper bracket finals. So, they have a pretty strong roster coming into this one. But on your screens right now, that's Deviant Topaz, Tub, Toffee, Waffy, Puda, Yuna, as well as CJ Sakura. And this was the team that we kind of call them that hot rookie team. They came out of the gates like for Open 3, right? It was absolutely mind-blowing. Their first time making playoffs was Open 3. And they had like 2 to 4 weeks experience with their 5 roster going into that one. And they made such an impact. I mean, it looked like they had a great chance in Open 3 as well. Of course, didn't have enough circuit points to make it through, but we were so excited to see them come back for LCQ.
Yeah, I mean, when you talked about that Open 3, I think that really they're a team that took everybody by surprise with how hard they fought against those more heavyweight established names that we're kind of used to seeing around in that top 6. And heading into this particular one, I think that, well, of course, we know about Toffee Waffy, the IGL, the plays that she makes, especially on that initiator sentinel role. Just really one of those players to watch out for, not just cracked on the server, but also the big brains for the team. But it's the newcomer on this rookie team, CJ Sakura, who I have been particularly very impressed with on that controller role, just heavily favoring the odds in her team just with the utility usage. And I think Deviant Topaz so far, that's kind of been their signature throughout their run. I think that they have been very versatile in how they like to play. And more than that, they're a team that never knows when to give up, and it's served them well so many times over the course of this tournament.
Absolutely, and we do have the map picks coming out for this best of 3 series. It is going to be Haven, Fracture, as well as Pearl if it does go to the decider. And no Ascent around for NYX Kyosei, I think, is going to be big because that's far and away, the map that they're the most comfortable on. Deviant Topaz as well, they aren't going to be able to play Bind this time around, so it's a pretty good mix of maps that they're comfortable on and also maps that, like, we're not really sure what's gonna happen. How do we feel?
I mean, map number 1 is Haven. I think that this is pretty much comfortable for any of the teams that are in the circuit so far. That said, this is a map that NYX Kyosei has a much better success rate on. They have like a 71% win rate on this. They were able to beat MLT on this map, one of our upper bracket finalists here. So definitely a map that they've proven to be very capable on in the past. And for the side of Deviant Topaz, you can't quite say the same. They've had some close runs before. They've been able to beat Global Esports on this map, 13-11. We remember that win. And in this tournament, they were so close to pushing it to overtime against Neons. So definitely a map that they have also proven to be forced on before. That said, though, we have another mirror matchup coming in, and looking at these agent picks, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's the exact same composition that both these teams pretty much always run whenever they play Haven in competitive. So in terms of agent composition, not all that surprising that they're both just going to stick with this. I'm just kind of more interested to see how this is going to affect either team's play style coming into this, just like how we saw at the end map 3 of Series 1 just now. I mean, they might agents, but they might play it very differently. I think both of these teams have kind of distinctive play styles. Deviant and Topaz, you know, we've seen them pull out a bunch of different things from the bag. Sometimes, you know, they make those eco wins happen out of absolutely nowhere. Sometimes, like when they overheat, they're just so confident. So yeah, I'm excited to see how the mirror matchup will play out with these 10 players in particular. What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with all the points that you made there. The mirror matchup, I mean, you have the same agents, but it's going to come down to play style. I think that one of the things I was most impressed about by Deviant Topaz were the initiators. I think both Yuna as well as the Sova pick coming out of Toffee Waffy on this map have proven to be incredible. Toffee Waffy on that Sova in particular just lets her make more use out of that information that she gets on that initiator role. But I think that we've said enough, Jenny. It's time for us to just toss it back to our casters, because we're heading into game. It's gonna be the second elimination game of the day. Who will go through? For that, we gotta ask our casters, Dax and Quack.
Why are you asking us, Zach? Why are you asking us? We just want to know what will happen into this upcoming series, as of course, this is gonna be for the eliminations yet again. We're still a lower bracket, but now we have two new teams stepping up to the plate. NYX on one side, and, well, Deviant on the other. Dax and Quack, though, together. My boy, we haven't casted in so long. I know you're a big time caster. I know you're Mr. Pacific yourself.
This guy. Ever since Ascension, you've been doing this to me.
No. Ever since we were announced to be Pacific,
I didn't do nothing.
That's my boy from SEA. But anyway, we got two teams from SEA, of course, here, the APAC Game Changers, LCQ. NYX on one side, all Filipino on the other hand. Deviant Topaz, I do believe a bit of a mix from Singapore, you have Indonesia, you got Malaysia. And this is going to be such an interesting matchup just because we start things off with a mirror on Haven.
Heck yes. And I mean, you can't forget Indonesia as well. You know, that's where Yuna's from. But that's the main thing about this team. Sorry. It's the fact that there's nothing out of the ordinary right now. And if what Zach says is true, and it is statistically, it's that Deviant doesn't necessarily have the best Trek record. And another thing is just that throughout the entire group stage, they've played the most number of rounds. And that means sometimes they take a little while to get warmed up. You know, and you're always going to be a little bit worried about that, especially with the fact that they're now starting on the attack. You want more rounds when you go up against a strong defensive team like NYX Kyosei.
Yeah, all I got from that was, how dare you question Zach and the facts. Still, Deviant Topaz, we've seen how impressive they have been even in their last series. Piety waiting here over onto the corner by the platform. Smokes out, but Deviant Topaz looks pretty clear. Yuna on the board, but somebody does answer back of her own. 4v4 for the time being. Deviant Topaz gets the plant going. And eventually, they're going to look to go for the post plant. They want to try to play towards long. Eventually, they're forced to stay on site instead. Toffee on the board, gone for the answer. It's trade for trade with the pistol. Shuni giving the advantage back here to NYX. And with Toffee Waffy all alone, the captain yet again tried to find the calls and the targets. 1v1 now. Toffee Waffy versus Shuni. Toffee trying to take the angle and takes the action to get the clutch.
such a patient maneuver around the boxes on the site decks. I mean, you were absolutely right with the way that they kind of went out to clear out platform, which was one of the big things that allowed them to capture the site, right? But when it came down to it, losing some of the gunfights, you can see that NYX Kyosei still has strength in numbers. However, Deviant Topaz, when they have Toffee as their leader. And that's another interesting thing that I noticed. Whenever you look at their past match history, this new IGL, this new addition to the team, she's always consistently top fragging, always consistently putting up big numbers when DV does well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Truthfully, from what we've seen so far, not just her calls, but for her performance really ascends Deviant Topaz to higher levels. And now on the anti-eco, Bulldogs at the ready, Spectres are there too. A quick plant now towards the platform side. A long plant is the call. The smoke from Garage fades away. Somebody realizing, okay, this is already site taken. And Delbisky, she has another plan. Flash into play. CJ over onto the corner. Delb in trouble. This is gonna be too dangerous. And with the Spectres up close, you already know that Deviant Topaz has a handle of things. Everyone falls from NYX. It's a flawless win for Deviant.
Dude, everyone dropped. And it was just so much awareness coming out from Deviant Topaz. Like you were talking about it, Dax. Yes, it's a very clear C hit, but then, my man, when it came back into it, I don't know if they heard something, but they just turned around at the right time. So aware to watch their flanks, and they were absolutely right, because NYX took a little while to retake, and just being aware to check some of these corners, check some of these flanks, and of course watching defenders spawn as well. But now we go into the third round, and this is where NYX Kyosei, of course, gets to come up with the full buy. They're going to have to watch out a little bit more now. But at the same time, Yuna is just a few points away from her ultimate.
Yeah, it's always so stifling when Deviant Topaz gets an ult quickly onto these games. And I'm watching again here for Deviant Topaz. That shift, putting Toffee Waffy on the initiator role as Puda's back into the roster. You mentioned the paranoia being primed by Piety. This time around, NYX actually putting a bit more presence towards Garage, and Con will deliver with a single kill.
That's the first one, and she's still watching out for more. Deviant needs to rethink their decisions right now, because if you recheck Garage, you know that she's right around the corner.
Yeah, she's just sticking around now, and CJ Sakura look to plan out the entry. Sub though struggling to find any contact. Con instead finding Buddha over on the backside, and still NYX trying to go for the hold. A good stall there, Piety giving a chance now for Shuni to go for the push herself. 3v1, it's CJ all alone. Already caught out by Con. The classic is enough. A beautiful right click and an even stellar hold there from NYX.
That is incredible. Khan did so much in this round. First of all, just holding Garage by herself, this first frag, but then also being so, I guess, daring to just walk up towards the front of the door. I think Poda tried to kind of re-aggress in towards Garage, but Khan was right there, Dax. And you gotta love how DV keeps on trying to push into the C site. And I love their clear protocols in sending Yuna off with some of the flash points, but without the full team there, without a clear B split push, it just kind of falls apart ultimately. So standard start now, and NYX stands a chance at coming back.
Yeah, NYX has a good handle of how the map works. Truthfully, Quack, if you're a Filipino team, one of the first maps that you'll learn to play
is Haven.
Yes! Mr. Pacific knows exactly what's going on. Whether it be VCT or Game Changers, it's pretty much instilled in us. You turn on Valorant for the first time, it's Haven that shows up if you're a Filipino. Anyway, we're going for this A split this time around. Intel being provided by Toffee Waffy. Spots out somebody. This is dangerous. She's committed right now. Paranoid being primed as well. And as we get top trap into play from top, Danger close at somebody with a kill. Hunter's Fury for the cover. Yuna though with the frag. Somebody still holding. Doesn't care about the Nana Swarm. And this is looking pretty dicey here for DV.
Oh, they might have managed to sneak in, and they are sticking the plant right now, but look at NYX so fast on site.
Whiskey's there, smoke dissipates, and there's the trade immediately. Con's ready on the opposite end, and NYX again, so quick on the retake. The holds though from somebody formerly known as Capricious. You already know that there's a standard they're setting here.
I mean, without a doubt. She was just in that corner the whole time watching down A short, and that's such a pivotal part of the map to keep an eye on. At the same time, there was also the Hunter's Fury from Khan earlier, and that's one of the things that kind of slowed down DV. You know they wanted to get the plant down. You know they wanted to kind of take better control over the site, but they couldn't because of all of these obstacles in their way.
Yeah, just goes to show that here for DV, it's not enough to actually get the space right. They need to confirm these kills just because you have players like Con, you have players like somebody who are so efficient at sticking around towards the site. And really for NYX right now, this is one of their biggest strengths. There's so much firepower in this roster. And oh, the Whiskey.
Ooh.
Beautiful find onto Tub.
She's been online with this operator. At times she goes over onto the chamber, but always landing frags with it, and especially on Haven, on the C site, it just sends a signal to DV that they cannot approach this site any longer. They have some ultimates, but this round, it's not really in the cards for them, given the fact that they only have sheriffs, unless they're able to find some picks, and some of these angles towards B or A might work out, but they gotta close in the distance first, Dax.
Yeah, they're looking for it towards B. And Shuni and Khan playing so smart towards Link instead. Ah, no, I just complimented you and Puda instead with a stellar find. Toffee Waffy also looking likely here for DV. And because of this, Quack, they can go for A instead and pick up the guns along the way.
2 rifles retrieved. And keep in mind, they've got from the shadows. They've got Yuna with a Rolling Thunder as well, which could push NYX away from the retake. A big lurk coming up as well. Oh, but it gets spotted out by Piety.
Yeah, Piety at least with a find, making these odds equal. Aldro and Doe already looking for the scout as the spikes planted here by DV. And NYX, they got overrun to allow even Topaz to pivot towards that A site. Looking for the lurk from long courtesy of Khan. And while Dubisky still has the operator Paranoia masking the intention. And well done by Khan to get that kill. Over onto the corner. The twists and turns can't handle it. CJ Sakura, Toffee Waffy. A thrifty here from Deviant.
The positioning, Dax! I mean, first of all, Paranoia, the clear intention, and masking the flank coming out from Piety, that was great, that was huge. But then, once they go in to check Graffiti and push out of A-Link, they completely missed CJ Sakura! And that was the pivotal moment that gave DV the round.
You saw the fear immediately, the twists, the turns, and the sudden realization. Oh, we're dead. It wasn't even. It was just like, oh, what's going on? Well, wild rides out in this game, but Deviant Topaz has immediately changed their fortunes. We hear the blades though here. I believe that can be from Delbisky, right? And Paranoia being prime, so at least NYX is in position.
She's waiting for it too. I mean, if Yuna ults, she's gonna send that Paranoia so quick. But right now, just kind of chilling around this spot.
Deviant Topaz has time to burn anyway, and they're just sticking around by Cubby. It's like a group meeting. Here. So guys, what are we gonna do today?
Oh, the weather looks nice, huh?
Yeah, no, it's not actually. It's very stormy here. But I'm glad that we have the lead right now here on Haven. Did you guys bring the minutes?
And then at about like 40 seconds, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to clock out soon. And Deviant Topaz eventually, the communication will look to become coordination. They dash in with Sub leading the charge. Piety trying to hold, a bit too ambitious though versus many targets. And from that point on, this is DV's site to take.
Dude, you can tell that they rehearsed that take. I mean, the flash, the fault line, and then Tub as well. Here it comes.
I mean, they stayed in Cubby for it. That was the whole show, but at least Dobisky bringing in the battle. CJ still so stellar with the shots. And DV, just, you mentioned it, the coordination right now, the protocols on the offense, effective enough to give themselves another round here, unless these blades, Dobisky, chance, but there's so many in front of her, and immediately shut down by CJ Sakura again.
All right. I know what's up. I know what's up, Dax.
What's up?
Like, that's why they were in Cubby so long. You know, it wasn't to like cut noise or like to, you know, put question marks in the minds of NYX Kyosei. They were there to kind of just go over the game plan, and they were like, all right, guys, remember, we trained for this. We practiced for this. This is what we did last time.
Give me a pep talk. Pep
talk.
Yeah.
They will throw their arrows at us, and we will fight in the shade.
Oh, he's doing the Spartacus voice again. Oh no. But truth be told, you're right. Even so fast, they took that time in Cubby. A pseudo-tactical timeout. Maybe. But in the end, Deviant Topaz is in a really good spot. All jokes aside here, Quack. Rifles ready. All ults are there. And it has to be Delbisky getting value. Sees the hand, and Toffee Waffy's already dead.
And that's a big pickup. Your IGL's gone now. No Hunter's Fury available. You might be able to, make something happen with a lockdown or a Rolling Thunder, but that's it. Gun power is something that NYX Kyosei has.
It's exactly what they need in this situation. They're pinging the box and somebody will swing at the right time. They weren't prepared for it. The assumption, fatal here for Deviant Topaz. And somebody with the second kill along the way. Now it leads to a 5v2. And whatever Deviant Topaz had in their plans here, Quack, it's already in shambles. So many ultimates that could have been used cannot be now.
How do you come back from this, though? Slowly sneaking in the C side. They might be able to find a couple of frags.
Okay. They're getting it done. Nano Swarm there from somebody, but Yuna's already infiltrated. Leads to a 1v2.
Not impossible.
Planted.
If she can sneak into garage or something, maybe isolate some of those duels from the back.
Let's go!
Wait.
Rolling Thunder. And with the dash in, Dobisky looking to at least search for that initial contact. Yuna, though, in a good position. She still has the ultimate to go for the stole. Isolates the dual Yuna with a third. And now Dobisky gets halfway. Flashes into play. There's the swing. Gets into cover, but Yuna will hound her. What a clutch from Deviant Topaz!
Just barking at her heels. The way to sneak into garage, firstly, yes, but then also swinging out. The fault line does connect onto one of the players, and then she went in for the burst on the second one, peeking her in her direct line of sight. I mean, just the way to push out of this dark cover, playing along into the site, and then nailing that wall bang in the final moment. Deviant Topaz, man. And they still have their ultimate, Stacks.
Yeah, that's the most unbelievable part of this. She's held onto her Rolling Thunder. Utter confidence right now from this roster. And truthfully, ever since we saw Puda back in, ever since we saw them in the lower bracket, Deviant Topaz has looked to be such a better team. Beast Unleashed, they move towards B. And keeping an eye out on what Tub can do towards Link. Yuna already planting. There's the Aftershock into play. Lockdown the answer though from NYX. So Hunter's Fury. So Ultimates online. Gets the tag also onto one. Doffy Waffy destroys the lockdown. So goodbye to that. And NYX is gonna struggle here for the retake. Dobisky working together with Shuni. Paranoia being ready as well, so angles can't be taken here by NYX. But Tub is the big surprise. Goes for the contact, and onside, she's a menace. 4v3 for now. The smoke is there too. Fault line now from Shuni at the very least. But the stall potential is looking strong. The util you mentioned, the darts even. Add in the paranoia, and this is just a recipe of success here for Deviant Topaz. Kill after kill, it's all them now.
Everything just running right for them. NYX Kyosei, of course, they were on an eco, but that's one of the biggest things I learned my time at Pacific. No, I'm kidding.
Wow, what a flex. Okay, I know you get to always be with the great Achilles, the amazing favorite team.
But look, they always say this line. They always say, you throw everything and the kitchen sink.
Even more.
Precisely what Deviant Topaz did, that's why you go for that B plant and then immediately back off into mid, right?
I'm gonna stop you there. They saved the paranoia, actually. I was so surprised.
They saved the paranoia.
It's like, I don't need this.
We throw the Aftershock. We throw the Nano Swarm. Paranoia, no. We keep that. We keep that.
And they still have 4 ultimates right now, Quack. Deviant Topaz. This is why so many eyes were turning towards them back in Open 3 with these kind of incredible performances that just overwhelmed the opposition.
I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, yes, they're so good at this, and they have clear plans and structures and how they want to approach sites at times, and great kind of post-plant position holds as well. But while they are staggering their ultimates, which is something like they can do in the following rounds, there are some of these rounds, right, that we see them losing to tiny little lapses in judgment. Right, NYX Kyosei, whether it's somebody one just kind of hiding in a corner around garage or just hold up around A short, they fail to check it sometimes, and it does bite them in the back. So this timeout might allow for NYX Kyosei to pull off some more of these cheeky little camping corners.
It just feels like while Deviant Topaz is so organized, that's both a blessing and a curse. When plans go awry, perhaps that's where they struggle with the surprise angle that you already mentioned. Twice it happened towards A, but for now, Puda finding somebody. This is a big chance for Deviant Topaz to go in. They know it once towards Hell, and Yuna will find Shuni as well. She's been so sharp so far. Deviant Topaz with another one, and the snowball is looking to be an avalanche here. Quack, spikes planted, and it's Khan here on Heaven trying to find any semblance of a chance.
And they just keep on going. Now they have the site. They're just waiting for NYX. They're challenging NYX. Come into us. And Khan's gonna pick it up.
Yeah, at least now something to work with. Paranoia's there too, counteracted by CJ Sakurazone. That's the one saved from the last round. In the end though, Piety trying to go for the clash, spotted by the swing from Tub. And this is just Deviant Topaz again putting their flag onto the site. Kondo, incredible work with 3. But in this scenario, time's running out. Intel there for the closer angles. It's not enough to win the round, but at least she saves the gun.
She's sharp though. Khan has been really incredible, especially yesterday as well, in the secondary stream against MLT. But that's one of those things, is the numbers are just still too overwhelming. But that said, with these frags that Khan has collected, she does pick up the Hunter's Fury. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you gotta admit that impact from the timeout was not felt. 2-7. It's 5 rounds in a row for Deviant Topaz right now, and they're still cycling up on 3 more ultimate stacks.
Yeah, they still have so much in the bank here. And Deviant Topaz, the confidence is absolutely at its highest. NYX though, I'm watching out for what Piety can do really towards this back of C side. She's had a strong position there. The only problem perhaps is the ambition to peek and jump peek again and again. Get the intel. And this will just call for Deviant Topaz that we can make the C take work again.
You're still holding on to your dark covers though. And if you do that little sight smoke around the side of platform, Deviant Topaz just makes use of that. They sneak in and they flashpoint out of it. So you really have to rethink your decisions. And that's why she's jump peeking again, just to confirm, because Deviant Topaz, they have pulled off, noise cutting movements before. Now here comes the hit.
Somebody coming out from garage. Toffee Waffy though, prepared for the trade. They don't check the corner this time, and Piety will take advantage of it. Aftershock and the Hunter's Fury, we see now lines meet, and it will be Khan crossing it over onto Toffee. 4v2, a stellar hold so far from NYX. You mentioned already the minute changes we saw from the anchor. Piety looking to deliver. Yuna though, still with the fight back. Such a threat so far. In the 3v2, you keep an eye out on Delbisky as well. She's moving towards garage already. Window taken here by Puda, and Puda's surprise is gone. Isolated duel. Piety still holds 19 HP to give it to a 2v1, and it's Puda on backside. Another smoke to cover the cross. And the spike's there. Puda will fall. Piety, looking mighty in that round.
The Delbisky wasn't even needed. She was kind of staggering behind her to maybe play off of her contact, but Piety is still sharp with that aim. And when it comes down to it, it's the read from NYX, Kyosei. I really think so. You can tell that Deviant Topaz, they've got these clear kind of, I guess, defaults into how they want to execute onto certain sites. If it's B, they go for that post-plant hold. If it's A, they go in for the split push. If it's C, sometimes they cut noise, sometimes they pull off a bit of a fake, and NYX has caught on to that. They're anticipating some of these pushes, and they're just looking for Tub to dash in first. Once she's gone, it's a little bit easier for them to take down DV one by one. So if we can keep this up, they might be able to come off this first half with a 7-5.
The Tub signal basically is what they're looking for. And Tub, speaking of, falls first and foremost. Such a huge pick because Deviant Topaz relies on that space immensely. They move towards window though, and perhaps here Toffee Waffy can make a play.
Puda lurking behind window as well. Toffee just going out for the peaks now though, but the 1v1s, it's a little bit tricky.
And I like here for NYX, they're keeping tabs even from spawn. So Shuni knows now the garage still held by Deviant Topaz. NYX will force Deviant Topaz to back away.
Oh, that's incredible.
I wonder if they're going to go for B instead, because there's so much map control here for NYX.
It's almost as if B is the only option. And then as soon as they back out into middle, NYX Kyosei, this flank that they've been cooking up for the longest time, they might just pull it off, unless Puda can stop them in their tracks.
She's expecting it, but we preheated the damage with the Nano Swarm. And now Delbisky will get to find the dash, but no, Puda will correct her aim and get the catch. Here comes Piety, the win the trade. CJ Sakura making quit though, onto the side. Turrets into play. opportunities there too, but Yuna wants to hold down this close corner. Toppy Woppy over on out as well. Toppy delivers with one. Yuna doing the same, and it's 1v1 now. Here we go yet again, as clutch as can be between DV and NYX. Piety now goes for the tap. Not gonna stick it whatsoever. Aftershock is there, but that's intel here for her to work with. Time running out. A ray smoke here, but Yuna, you know she's ready. You know she'll deliver for this. And it's Deviant Topaz with another one.
There's not enough health. And Yuna played her advantage to perfection. I mean, the aftershock and then swapping to the other angle. Piety, unfortunately, just kept on thinking about it, and at some point you just have to go in for the stick. So unfortunate. The aftershock I saw just pulling her off of it. And it comes down to Puda and how she held that back angle. Delbisky, unfortunately, also tailwinding into the wall decks. That's one of those things. It just feels bad.
It got awkward real quick. Have to say though, Yuna delivery service, 30 seconds or the round's free. And even Topaz, it's looking so good for them. NYX hasn't looked like slouches so far in terms of the aim. It's just the executes it to even Topaz, the raise especially, and the swing from somebody covered so quickly. If you're ambitious, you're punished by Deviant Topaz. Smokes out to Rolling Thunder to play. Yuna, no fear, wants to lead the charge inside the smoke. Delbisky trying to find opportunity. As Toppy Woppy pushes towards the backside as well. It's NYX waiting for timing here. Quack, Tub though, and Toppy! They just spammed the smoke. Delbisky with the trade, sure, but the damage has been done. And Tub and Toppy do it again. Just like TT, the two will handle it. It's 9-3 for DV.
Man, NYX Kyosei got waffied. It's just... That was such a clean hit. I mean, you had the Rolling Thunder. They were saving it up the whole half for this last round. And of course, it ends in a 9-3 Dax.
Yeah, we're going to throw it over to the panel to break down what just happened in the first half.
Thanks, gentlemen. NYX looked like they were maybe starting to adapt to Deviant Topaz playbook, but I think the individual skill on the side of Deviant Topaz just so strong. What do we think?
I think definitely have to agree with you there. There were so many of these rounds where NYX, they found that early pick either with the operator from Delbinski or just with those peaks coming out of somebody. But despite those early advantages, so many times it was just Deviant being able to go back to the drawing board, make some kind of play happen. First, there was that incredible Thrifty. And then after that, right, you see that 2v5 come out, a beautiful smoke out of CJ Sakura, letting her teammate cross into sight and just overall kill everybody else. Fantastic rounds coming out of DV in this 9-3 half, but that said, NYX, they had individual moments of their own. Piety, for example, towards the back of that C site, such a menace, almost impossible to deal with. And a lot of these rounds, it came down to those 1v1s at the end. I feel like NYX, they could have been a little bit more disciplined with their numbers, with their advantages, and I think that was the biggest issue that they faced most of the time throughout this half.
Yeah, NYX also just not quite able to convert any of those early round advantages into those round wins later on, but of course it is 3-9. We'll see if NYX can bring this one back. Dax and Quack, take it back.
Wow, I like that rhyme, Jenny. I like that one. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Still though, we're seeing here, it's more so the time of Deviant Topaz, and it's up to NYX to effectively just bring it back here, Quack. And like our panel said, for NYX, they look to try and get the advantage early on, but Deviant Topaz, once it comes to the execute, that's where NYX and their defense falters. Perhaps now, on the attack, NYX can find recovery.
Perhaps. But that, again, that's always the biggest thing. When you're thinking about a map like Haven, sometimes maybe a little bit defender-sided, on the attacking, you could pull your opponent's defenses away. I'm just not sure if Deviant has some of those plans in mind for their defensive side. And if you think about this, it's surmounting pressure for NYX Kyosei, especially given the fact that this is their map pick. And starting off the first half 3-9 is not how you want to go.
Well, if they're a superstitious bunch, this is enough for them to work with.
True.
It's a 9-3. You know it can happen. And we've seen moments from Delbisky. We've seen moments from somebody. I'd give it, honestly, to the whole roster. It just hasn't coalesced as we've seen compared to Deviant Topaz. And for now, playing a bit slow, cutting that noise, looking for the C execute later on.
Okay. Just setting up for it. But look at DV's positioning as well, kind of setting up for the retake, almost as if that they knew that this was about to happen.
I mean, they expect it already. Garage held here by Deviant. One thing to watch out for has to be the lurk. Oh, some body paranoia is there. And NYX hasn't planted as of yet. It's already looking to be the collapse. CJ gets one. The flash, though, with the cover, as you mentioned. And NYX keeping up with the momentum. They have the sight, and they have the frags. It's up to Tub now in the 1v4. Sheriff in hand, but 2 bullets in the chamber. A single one left. And with that, she is singled out. NYX will win this pistol.
Just unfortunate with the singularity of the whole thing. I mean, you just watch that play out on the minimap as well, right? It's like Shuni was hiding in the backside, and like her teammates got paranoia. You flashing me? You flashing me?
You flashing?
I got a flash for you.
I got the answer. It's a quick little tech pause after everything is said and done. NYX, though, this is what we're talking about. Now that they're on the attacking side, it does feel like once they get on site here, Quack, they look so much more secure of what to really do, given the fact that Deviant Topaz has lesser options to work with.
Yeah, and that's the thing that they kind of have to consider as well. I mean, you have built up such a strong lead from the first half, but losing out the pistol now, momentum's a little bit shaken up. And thinking about it, it's going to be NYX, Kyosei, Delbisky on the Vandal. Don't want to lose that, but if you can hold on to it for the 3rd round, that would be huge. Somebody won on the Bulldog as well. That could be very valuable.
Yeah, that can be a sudden surprise. You also have so much firepower really here for NYX, and when you see these moments here, Quack, it does scream, despite the scoreline, the confident, the Bisky looking to deliver, but Puda,
no!
What? Okay?
Thought that thing was nerfed.
Oh, I thought that thing was cheaper, and well, the shot card will confirm the kill.
Not ready yet.
But today we learned Shorty better than Vandal.
Certain effective range. Shot guard better than Shorty.
If that was effective range, well, you can call the shotgun a sniper. Kondo and Shuni are able to find those frags, and from that point on, this can pave the way to go towards C. The double bounce even, Yuna just witnessing that get the intel. And honestly, NYX, they can double back, go for A, and that's exactly what they're doing here.
Great reads, great adaptations. And that's the thing about NYX Kyosei. Yes, it was a little bit hairy towards Garage and C, but now just moving up front. I think Toffee heard the movements as well, so she's calling out to Yuna about this.
Left.
But NYX Kyosei, you know, like we talked about before, they have that firepower. The individual fragging potential is always strong.
And they have Kon to deliver 3 already for her. Such a strong round here for NYX, and you kind of just have to wonder, in terms of the defense, will this be where things do change for Deviant Topaz? They've been strong on the executes, but in terms of retakes, NYX is just in position to prove how sharp they are as players.
Gotta keep their blade sharp as well. I mean, Yuna right now just trying to make sure not to give away any ult points and maybe trap some of them with the spike. But apart from that, NYX, if they can keep this up into the next round, right? Delbisky's Vandal has been picked up by Khan. You've got the Bulldog still, and Piety and Shuni with some Spectres as well. If you can convert the bonus win, you will find that momentum so desperately needed just to claw back from that 9-3. And if that happens, we just might have a comeback on our hands, Dax.
Yeah, it's always possible. And you look again at those 2 initiators. It's been the case for LCQ, if you notice, Quack, that it's not always the duelist who's there to find those kills. Sometimes they're at the bottom of the scoreboard, and it's players like Khan who are able to step up to the plate instead. That second wave after the position is made, that's where really the marksmanship comes from NYX.
No kidding. So keeping our eyes on Delbisky and Khan. But they're just going for a straight up C execute right now.
So quick! Oh, that could have been dangerous for CJ. At least Steven Topaz gets out of it, but it's a 5v5 retake anyway.
We've seen this in the pistol round before, though. Paranoia and the Flash. It's slightly different positions for NYX. But how is DV going to retake for this? You need everyone on board, everyone online, and so many of these positions still being held.
Oh, yeah, that's a big pick. Piety with a second. That's a Spectre, by the way, and she's able to get value. Piety with the 3rd. Okay, we see you. And from this point on, Puda's even found. NYX get a flawless on the bonus. Nicely done by them.
Unbelievable. And it is that bonus round win conversion. Now potentially a 7-9 at their hands. because they just held on top of logs with 2 players stacked up on top of each other. Piety with that Spectre as well. I mean, the sharpshooting is always there, and like you talked about, Dax, it might not always be the duelist. Yes, Delbisky got a couple of kills towards the end, but it's also the support players coming in, the way that they kind of take control over the site. Deviant Topaz giving it up, sure, but the retake's not quite there yet.
Such a statement though from NYX that they're truly in this series. When do you get a flawless bonus? It's not just more Quack, it's more and more, and right now NYX is in position to keep getting the most out of this half.
And they're trying to be safe right now as well. You know, you're never quite sure what Deviant Topaz might pull off. We just saw a crazy shorty kill outside the garage. So just giving them a little bit of respect, smoking things off and trying to get as much information as possible before they commit to a hit. But it does look like C has always been successful for them, and that's also where DV doesn't necessarily have the best retakes, at least for now.
Yeah, and we get this link position again. Problem is, with NYX already getting on site, the success rate has been pretty much perfect so far for them. Must be stunned on up, has the Cloudburst for the cover, Shuli on the board, and while DV try to go out, it will be NYX shutting them down. Another win with Delbisky on top of things.
Yo, she was literally on top.
That's why I said it.
I just wanted to point that out. but at the same time, Dax, dude, she really just like went full practice range in that moment. 3 players snuck out, and she took them down one by one, like one at a time, no problem.
Yeah, it's like that aim lab where you shoot the circle in the middle and then flick to a diagonal, and you go back to the circle and you flick again. It was just. It's easy pickings, man.
You see that training, you know, it pays off.
Yeah.
NYX
Kyosei.
Oh,
it's called Spider Shot. There you go. I remember that. Yeah. I was like, are you gonna fill in? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not know what you're talking about.
Apparently, all we know is to talk about this game, and we hear now the Hunter's Fury call courtesy of Toffee Waffy. It is over by A long though, and while this happens, Toffee Waffy still prepared. Delbisky, she thought she got the drop on her, but Toffee Waffy looked to be the last woman standing on that site. Spike though planted, forced out because of it over B.
Still though, because the spike is planted, now they get to play around with this. But you look at how DV goes into retake, clearing out middle first, but you gotta still watch out for window because Puda just, well, I mean, somebody wants just kind of right around the corner. Crossfire is being held as well, Dax.
Brother, all the hard work we saw from the start for Deviant Topaz immediately gone to the wayside. NYX, again, when they're in position, they are just basically turrets ready to shoot you down. Security service is set, and NYX will deliver again.
This is... I can't believe that this is happening. NYX Kyosei, what a comeback. I mean, it's still just happening. 8-9 is the score right now, but they've won like 5 rounds in a row. Actually more, ever since the second half started. And this is just so unbelievable. They are starting to chain up ultimates right now as well. And with the way that they maneuver around the map, yeah, maybe, you know, Toffee Waffy is always stable with how she plays around the site, with her movement, not necessarily rushing blindly into things. But when NYX Kyosei kind of get a clear game plan in mind, and when they know where DV Topaz are kind of positioned around, they really know how to dissect and pick them apart. And that's the biggest thing. So timeout, it might be called right now, but I don't think the impact's going to be felt in the upcoming round. In fact, it's probably going to be in round 19.
I think this is just basically talking stage 1, and next round is talking stage 2. From what we've seen so far, Deviant Topaz, you can see the plan is set, Quack, that they have the utility to try and go for the retake. They have the same composition, but as soon as they even get the attempt started, they're shut out immediately by NYX. It's one of those games where you can have all the utility plays that you want, all the setups, but in the end, if they just shoot you immediately, what's the point?
That's why it only worked in the first half when they had the spike. Now that the spike is against them, you have to shoot out your opponent sometimes. And unfortunately, in this current instance, it hasn't worked out great. NYX Kyosei clearly a little bit sharper and having more of that individual fiery power. Still though, they're trying something different, and I like to see that, but you gotta be careful. It's gonna be Tub, and she snuck underneath window.
I mean, might as well, right? You're on a sheriff round, and Tub has been the one to make these kind of plays work before. Toffee Waffy also tucking away over the A long entrance, so that's something.
I feel like NYX is gonna chat. Yeah.
Yep. I can't believe you called.
They took a bit of time.
Yeah. And even more, just NYX can't be stopped. They're so sharp right now. These shots are almost perfect, and there's paranoia from CJ. Maybe here Deviant Topaz can work with this. But for now, we're just seeing a masterclass of aim from NYX Kyosei, and even though it's a 5v3, they're already peppered here to half HP here.
It's just not working out great. Still 5 HP, half HP. You might just die to a shock dart.
Yeah, let me finish it for you. No HP.
Okay.
Goodbye to another one, and it's a heartbreaker here for Deviant Topaz, because now we have witnessed here, Quack, all the hard work that we saw in the first half. The 9-3 will become 9-9, and it's confirmed NYX have tied it up.
Flawless as well. Economy flourishing. They have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to their new empire.
Whoa, your new empire? Well, if it is the NYX empire, I'll be happy to sign up for it. Still, with a 9-9 standing, if you are superstitious, maybe you'll believe. 6 rounds in a row here, Quack.
6 rounds in a row? You don't believe? What's wrong with you? You gotta believe. You gotta believe. Show some faith. And that's the funny thing as well. Yes, this was NYX Kyosei's map pick, and I guess that's why they're so strong on the attack. But the last time these two teams faced off against each other, Deviant Topaz, they didn't have Toffee, and they still won. But now NYX Kyosei, such clear anticipation in how DV plays. Now going in for that B hit. How can DV retake?
Can DV indeed. And I'm watching for what Puda can do. She's avoiding the fault line, though, over onto the corner. Perhaps the strategy that she needs. It's still checked! It's always checked by NYX!
Damn.
And checkmate now, even towards top. 2 are down. Yuna falls, but Khan will just catch the congregation anyway! And NYX is just looking so flawless with these duels. I can't even figure out what else DV can do if they can't find their footing against the marksmanship of NYX Kyosei.
And it's just so sharp. It's so intentional. Every single one of these movement stacks. If you watch how they kind of take their time around with some of these things, going in for the spike plant, backing out, but just holding certain positions. It's almost as if they know that this is where DV would kind of step towards. And having those reads is so devastating because DV has yet to find a single round in the second half. They're starting to build up on their ultimates now, yes, surely, but it's not because of kill stacks. And at the same time, conversely, you've got that Hunter's Fury firing at them.
Yeah, just blindly looking for a target, but NYX have been so quick on these rounds, and even faster now onto the site. Somebody just waiting here on the lurk. The garage is taken though by DV, and Topaz is looking for that impact. Blades though are dulled. Khan on the board as well, and this is just NYX again in the right positions to get the right frags going. Beautiful shot from Puda. Maybe a chance here for Deviant Topaz. They've been needing that hope for quite a while already. Puda also with a push, but no chance this time around. NYX again, they just execute on the spot, and it's 11-9 here.
Yeah, I'm kind of not really seeing it. I mean, maybe they get a good shot or two once in a while, but still, in their retakes, it's just falling apart. Every time that they try, they kind of get stopped because of NYX Kyosei just kind of ensuring that they wouldn't be able to set up for that clear retake execute that they want to go for. And because NYX Kyosei continues to keep going for such aggressive plays and decisive hits, they can afford to do that. They've got the credits. They're just going to keep up with this. And if DV doesn't break the mold right now, it's going to be match point, Dax. It might just be over.
Yeah, isn't that the point we have to make here? It's DV trying to keep up, and NYX is just sprinting away from them. Another one bites the dust as Yuna will fall. And NYX, they've gotten these first kills pretty much exclusively the second half. It continues on now with somebody, and this side is theirs to take again.
Spike planted.
Now it's a 3-on-5. Sure, we've got an operator, a lockdown, but man, Dex, if I'm being honest, unless you can find some of these frags and you find them quick, it's just so oppressing. They've got to try though, because if not, it's gonna be match point. They're getting pinged out by Con.
Oh, they know what's coming. The paranoia is there. CJ also with the teleport, but it's immediately called by NYX. Blink and you will miss it here, Quack. It's already match point from NYX. They have had a perfect half so far.
Yeah, I'm not blinking. My eyes are glued to the screen.
Okay,
that's happening.
So hardworking, but you have to give the props to NYX right now. This second half has been unbelievable.
It's okay. Let me count for a second. That's 9.
9.
Okay, Dax is faster than me. This is how you join Pacific. First of all, you gotta have good math skills, and then you tape your eyelids up so that you just don't miss anything.
Listen, the third is to have the right passport. Well, in any case, NYX, they have the right calls, and look at the confidence. Who from the shadows straight to a site to plant it, Quack.
Spike planted.
I mean, NYX Kyosei, they're confident. They're going in for it. Tub's trying to fight back though.
There's a chance here now for DV. Finally, they draw first blood. And you mentioned it. The lockdown's a play. Aldron's the answer. And the counter lockdown. So, latter here from NYX. They might have a small advantage. It's already null and void for DV.
It's counterintuitive. Yuna might be able to ult back or something, but the time is working against DV.
Yeah, they still have the players here for NYX. They want to go for the last stand, but Yuna finds another one.
Okay.
Piety! Oh, what happened there? And Piety! Okay, she gets 2. It's 1v3. Now somebody's the one that matters here onto the corner. Time running out though. Tub on the defense. She has to stick this so far. Protected by the team. And finally, Deviant and Topaz get on the board. It got close though. It got scary, but for DV, that's exactly what they needed.
2 more rounds, and we would have the second overtime of the day, Dax. You're excited about that?
Yeah, I don't mind, honestly. This half has been very fast. Oh, but Deviant, Topaz, finally, this is what they were looking for. And I feel like, Quack, it all boils down to how Yuna stepped up in that first kill along the way near the start of the round.
I mean, she kind of flubbed it a little for a second. I'm not quite sure what that was. Maybe she got stuck in a reload or pulling out the knife for a second or something. But Piety did fight back, and when it came down to it, that does open things up for DV. So maybe that's what they need in some of these retakes. It's just to enable 1 or 2 of these players to find some frags, create a little bit more space before they actually go in for it. NYX, Kyosei, on the other hand, though, you can also say that they're just kind of getting a little bit, I don't know if antsy is the word. They're just full sending it because they know they have such a huge advantage built up. Yeah, but if they did win that round, that would have been 10 rounds in a row. I want to say that.
No, I get it, because, again, they just teleport straight onto the side. Right? They said, okay, we'll call it a post plant. So there's so much confidence, and I feel like it has to be that line between confidence and cockiness. Deviant Topaz, it's always been in them from what we saw in the first half. A-Long now is where NYX is all stationed. It's a heavy sack for them, and Piety wants to be the one splitting away instead. Fault line, though, doesn't get value. Delbisky instead on the side, but Con finding Yuna to begin with. Puda, though, trying to play out to the corner. That's a big pick, and Puda finds another. Hits her pattern, she's ready for more, and she's just swinging wildly, trying to get on away. Somebody on the board, Shuni there too, becomes a 2v2, and the scrap fest yet again, but Toffee Waffy finds a frag. It's 1v1 now, all up to the clutch. It's Shuni on one side, and Tub on the other, but NYX goes side. They'll fall this time, as Stevie and Topaz survive.
Look at Tub playing that anti-flash position to perfection. Just knowing that, okay, yes, it's Shuni, she's a breach, she's gonna have some flash points, and she just hucks away towards the back of the boxes. Shuni threw it out, but just wasn't quite able to connect. And at the same time, just DV having these plays coming out. Although some of them were hit by the fault lines, they stayed steadfast in their positions, and Puda was definitely one of those players. Starting to work up together now. We are 1 point away from from overtime, excuse me. Dear Lord.
Yeah, Deviant Topaz, they aren't gonna be taking this lying down. They want to fight, and they want to still show that they are ready to contend in this series. They survived so far, but we've seen this work from NYX multiple times. C's taken already.
Okay, on Con. C has been taken, and again, remember, this is where the retakes always fall apart for DV. They're setting up for it once more. And this time, they've got Yuna and the Rolling Thunder. That's one thing that could work, but look at what's happening on the minimap, Dax. NYX has completely evacuated the site.
Yeah, they have decided to build their quarantine elsewhere. And face first from Shuni. CJ, though, with the answer. It's 4v4 flashes there. Puda looking over the defuse already. And it's NYX visiting the advantage instead. 4v2. Puda getting halfway, though, in the smoke. There is no chance. There is no hope. NYX will take it 13-11. Recovering from a slow first half.
You can hide inside of that dark cover. You can try to stick defuse, but you cannot dodge those bullets coming at your way. And NYX Kyosei, what a comeback. You just might have to be superstitious after a half like that.
I'm gonna sprinkle some holy water later, probably put on a bit of garlic outside. In the end, though, the 9-3 became a 13-11. And while we had such a strong showing from Deviant Topaz in the first half, coming into the second, it feels like that's where they slept and NYX took advantage instead. We'll throw it over to the panel to break down such an unbelievable comeback that we saw.
Thanks, gentlemen. Well, we figured out one thing, and that one thing is that attacking side NYX goes hard. I mean, facets, comprehensive angle coverage as well. Zach, break it down for us.
Yeah, I think that entire second half went by like a flash. It went from 3-9 to 12-9 there, and that's just a testament to how good these executes were coming out of NYX. In particular, they figured out that C site was extra weak. They hammered at it every single round where they got that spike out on the C site. They were able to win it. They tried to switch things around towards that A site after they found some success there as well, but off the back of that retake, Deviant were able to take it back, but the damage had already been done by them.
Yeah, and taking a look at the scoreboard right there, MVP for NYX. Gonna go over to Khan, 24-12, very well deserved, even bagging 2 first bloods throughout those 24 rounds. Also, pretty good showings all around from her teammates, Killjoy as well as Piety on that Omen, also doing some pretty hefty work all around. But you know, Yuna, MVP for the squad of Deviant Topaz. And I mean, she's only 16 years old, but wow, like she tried so hard to get this one over the line for her team.
Yeah, it was extremely close. That first half, of course, domination coming out of DV, but NYX, they were quick to really flip that script here. Looking at the post plant in particular, NYX were able to win 10 out of 11. The only successful retake that came in was when they had the lockdown available. And in that last round, right, you could see the planning coming, and they knew that the Rolling Thunder was in Yuna's hands. They played offside. You had the wraparound coming in as well from the Jet. And throughout, Khan was just a force of nature, being just as ahead on that side, trading out teammates, and honestly, watching her play in that attacking half, it felt more like Sova as the new duelist.
I love her picture too. I know we gushed over this during the team intro, but this just has that like race car energy photo.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
I know.
full, right? She's just full sending it all the time, and she's just W straight away. Even though you know she's on that Sova, But playstyle, man, in that mirror matchup, just absolutely a treat to see. And looking at forward for the map selection as well, because we are in the best of 3 series, right? And NYX versus Deviant Topaz Haven. This was the map that NYX kind of really needed to win to be able to take this series, considering that Pearl maybe not their best map going into map 2. But guys, we're gonna go for a very short break before we find out if Deviant Topaz can turn this one around. Don't go anywhere.
One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left.
Welcome back to map number 2 in our second series of the day between NYX as well as Deviant Topaz. After that insane map number 1 that we were talking about, NYX kind of pretty much needed to win that map 1 to be able to take this to, to be able to take this series. But now coming into Pearl, how are we feeling, Zach?
I mean, map number 1, that was a masterclass performance coming out of both of those teams in that half one. But when that side swap happened, they talk about the 9-3 curse, but I think that's the fastest we've seen it really kicking in. NYX being able to take it from 3-9 to 12-9 before we saw a little bit of pushback come in, but they ended up taking that map away 13-11 now. Map number 2, heading into Fracture here, chosen by Deviant. They've had a good run on this map so far, finding success in the last 3 times they picked it up, both in that Swiss stage as well as against Bot, I believe, on stream yesterday. So definitely a map that they seem to be comfortable on. For NYX though, it's kind of a mixed bag. In that semifinal against MLT, we saw them take quite a hammering yesterday. It was 13-3 if I'm not wrong that they lost.
Whew. Yeah, we don't have all that much competitive stats for them. I think we have seen them play Fracture 5 times so far on VLR. We don't have like that many stats for them, and they do run a couple of different compositions across the board. Usually it is that Brim, Breach, Sova, as well as Neon, and then their 5th agent kind of does a little switching up here and there though. But on the side of Deviant Topaz, they're kind of way more willing to run a couple of other different compositions. So I think that we'll probably see a Raze, might end up turning into like a Raze versus a Neon sort of situation going on, but we will see. What do we think?
I definitely agree with you. I think that duelist pick is the biggest differentiator. Of course, Raze has a little bit more duelist, but you saw how fast NYX likes to play. So with that kind of a style that they have, the Neon might be a better fit for them. Like you mentioned, the track record, it's not a map that they play as much as their other picks, like for example that we just saw on Haven, but it's a map that they've had very mixed success on. So pretty curious to see how this is gonna go. This is Deviant's map pick. They've looked very comfortable on it in the past, and they haven't really vary that agent composition much apart from that duelist. In particular, the initiators as well. It's going to be the Sky and Breach coming in. A lot of flashes really complementing that fast-paced style that the Neon promotes.
Yeah, sometimes they do end up picking that Jet. I think we did see that Jet in maybe the previous Open in some of the games, like in Swiss stage as well. But it'll be pretty exciting, as you were saying. It just really enables the play style that we see on Deviant Topaz. And the interesting thing is, I don't think that we see this fast-paced Deviant Topaz all the time. It's just certain compositions, certain maps, Haven, attacking side, and then Fracture. Sometimes when they do have that Neon for the zoomies, then we see that play style being drawn out of them. So, hopefully if they do go for that, we will see that today. I think it's always like an absolute treat to watch whenever Deviant Topaz are feeling it. And yeah, hope that we'll see that today.
I think that for Fracture in particular, apart from that duelist pick, one thing that we've seen throughout this first map, as well as from both these teams in this entire tournament, has been the importance of those initiators. Like Khan had an absolute beast of a game the last time around, but Yuna, she's no slouch either. She's been incredible over the course of this entire event. And of course, Toffee Waffy, we might be seeing her make that role switch once again, this time into that Killjoy that she has been playing since she did join this team. So on this particular map, I'm going to be interested by that as well, because, you know, you talked about the duelist differences, but NYX also likes to change it up on that Sentinel. We've seen them go for that Chamber sometimes, a Cypher as well. So I'm personally an average Killjoy enjoyer. I just think that she's the best Sentinel no matter what. Statistics and champions seem to agree with me. 63% pick rate. But overall, I just think that she's so much more useful. Like, I still remember yesterday, that overtime game that we saw, the team was just so careful. They were like, we want nothing to do with the fights. We're just gonna go pick up those orbs while it's still an 8-point ultimate, take the side off the back of that, and win the round for free. And that's exactly what happened. So ultimate orb management, as well as the Sentinel picks, that might be something to really keep track of too.
Yeah, and I mean, girl, I've seen your keyboard. You literally have like the turret. You've got like a whole bunch of Killjoy keycaps on your keyboard. We've seen that before, but you're not the only Killjoy enjoyer. Deviant, Topaz, Toffee Waffy. Oh, are they gonna switch around? Maybe not, but I think Toffee Waffy alone has that 690 hours on Killjoy that we found out last month. We were like, wow, okay.
That was last month.
Girl.
It's probably like 1,000 now.
That's true. Who needs sleep when you've got Valorant in the mix? But yeah, looks like it will be the Neon for the side of NYX Kyosei. And other than that, pretty much what we expected from both these squads. I think that what you mentioned earlier, util usage, will be a pretty big factor in this particular map. We did see in map number 1 when there were a little shenanigans, you know, with all that ultimate withholding here and there. And I think on a map such as Fracture, I don't think you can really afford to hold back your util, or, you know, well, I don't know, we'll see. It's also hard to win those retakes without it. But guys, we're about to head into map number 2, and once again, here to bring you guys all the action, we've got the duo Quexalis. Guys, take it away.
No, just no. Quaxal, come on. Jenny, I expected more from the Jenny Arroyo truly. But in the end, we know, of course, the main bulk of the action is in the game. So Quack, just hold your thoughts about that one. Talk to me about Fracture instead, please.
Yes, I will build off of it. I mean, okay, so this is kind of what Zach was talking about, right? And what you've seen from NYX Kyosei on this map, which is maybe a little bit worrying, is the fact that they didn't have the best track record, especially if you consider yesterday's game against MLT Esports. But that said, it's also not the worst. In fact, if you actually take a look at how Deviant Topaz has played on this map before, it's also not like their star map, their favorite map or anything. Yes, they've had great performances on it before, and I think that's why they're banking on this. But you have to think that maybe NYX Kyosei has fixed some mistakes, and that's why you're still seeing the same composition. Surely it's Delbisky with that Neon, and kind of like what our panel was talking about as well. This agent select, while it is somewhat comfortable, it allows them to kind of right the ship a little bit and change some of these past positionings and whatnot that might allow them to come in with better performance.
I mean, perhaps, right, we'll have better waters here for Deviant Topaz. It's been a reliable map, though, of recent history, at least, Quack. I believe in the playoffs here in the LCQ, they won against Bot. They also have won it in the Swiss stage as well. But really, it's more so NYX I'm watching out for. Yes, they still have the Neon, but they get rid of the Chamber, they swap out a few roles, and now it's Delbisky who delivers with 2. Stunning here to start things off.
And that's why it's slightly different, right? No Chamber, but it's Delbisky on the Neon and not somebody one. And it's slightly different, but that's also how they kind of adjust around this. And if you think back to the last time that NYX Kyosei had a great performance on this map, Delbisky was the one popping off. She had 310 ACS as the chamber. If she can pull off a performance like that on a slightly different agent, that's how you put yourselves up there with one of the better teams in this LCQ, and they have to make it happen. If not, it might just be going to a map 3. Now going into this, it's going to be a hit again. But Piety just stops them.
Yeah, big start here for Piety. She's still towards tower. It's Shuni also on the board, and from this point on, it's NYX already just wiping the floor of the opposition. They're still feeling the momentum from that first map here, Quack.
And it's just flowing through again and again, and that's one of those big things. Again, Valorant, yeah, you click heads. Yes, that's what we're seeing in the replay. But also a bit of that mental game, right? You got that huge win, that huge surge from the first game, and you bring that forward with you into the second one. NYX could change things up. They might just be able to carry this forward, especially if they pick up round 3. Right now, what we're seeing, though, again, it's that Vandal. It's a Guardian Dax, and also a Bulldog.
I mean, they have so much utility to work with also here for NYX. You look at their comp, Quack. So many stuns, so many ways to just play post plan, do some damage before anything else. And I really like this call here from NYX. They struggled with their chamber comp before in the playoffs. And as of right now, they're putting themselves in a good position by being aggressive towards the spawn. Underpass though taken instead by Deviant Topaz, and seems like a regroup is in order here for the offense.
Just taking a second with it too. But at the same time, a little bit of information gathered. At what cost though? Toffee down to 4 HP. It's very difficult to start to go in for an execute like this. Another thing is also the fact that NYX Kyosei has pushed out of trees, pushed out of A main. They're getting so much information that I'm pretty sure they're banking on this being a B hit, and now they would be right.
I mean, they were watching towards drop, but now there's confirmation from Arcade. Finally prepared. Konzu, and look at NYX go. They have the kills from the high ground, but well done by Yuna and CJ at least to answer back with the classics. Yet again, though, the Neon finding value, the stun connects, keeping DV at bay. Aftershocks there too. Flash comes into play. The Blisky sliding around, and while Yuna fights back, it's Shuni rather, will be able to find those final kills. So 2-0, but a decent round for Deviant Topaz though.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I do like the little bit of neon movement from Delbisky towards the end there, although she did die. But at the same time, you're absolutely right. Because Deviant Topaz, that is a great way to force your opponent to end and take control over B tower, right? The paint shell's coming out from Tub, enabled the rest of the team to kind of get that distance away, and Piety had no choice. She couldn't fall back. If she did, she would have run into the explosion, so she moved up front, got some kills with the Spectre, but also ate the classic right click. Now coming into it, oh my god, Dex!
It's just so speedy here from Delbisky. Tub though also with the same performance. A 2-4-3 basically. And this leaves now NYX only with the pistols in hand, Quack. I like the gamble, but DV was prepared for it.
And with that preparation comes potentially a round win.
Oh.
That's it though, it's not over yet.
A scary con, sharp yet again, goodbye to 1. Yuna though using that range with the rifle. 50 HP left, backing out. Perhaps doesn't want to use the Seeker so far. As Puda though, looking to go for the push. Piety on site, sees, well, that's a bit of intel. From this point on, there you go. Deviant Topaz on the board.
Heidi wanted to pick up the weapon, and that kind of left her out in the open. And at the same time, it's just gonna be DV. I mean, Spike planted. You saw how they played on Haven. They've got great post plants. It's just that they got to keep that up. And right now, sometimes if NYX Kyosei really makes use of the chaos on this map, they might be able to throw DV in for a loop. But that said, again, DV just might be able to make some good reads. They already have Yuna up on her Seekers.
Yeah, it's something that we always see from Deviant Topaz, even in the first map. Getting an ultimate quickly, such a big factor here moving into the next round, given the fact that NYX have their rifles, and there's still so much proactivity. I like this a lot between Delbisky and somebody. It always feels like there's going to be an angle where you're going to get flashed, you're going to get stunned, and NYX will look to take advantage of that.
It's working out for now. But they're also just holding, and that means it's going to be a bit of contact play coming out towards B. But look at the positioning from NYX as well. They're not revealing themselves too much. They're relying a lot on their utility. As soon as the movement comes in from DV, Khan's going to throw out a couple of recons and everything else. She's already used it, actually. So it's just going to be a hit from DV.
DV found the angle to work with from the tower. Take it to Khan. Somebody answer back, though. And onto the side. Khan still here by the crates. Really needs to be DV finding the cross, but no chance whatsoever. Too dangerous courtesy up top. At least CJ able to pick up the pieces. Shuni, though, surprise, surprise. And from this point on, it's CJ versus 2. So difficult, though. Quack and flash there. Here comes the swing. Isolated, sure, but it's not enough. Somebody will finalize the round. And it's another one here for NYX.
They're actually... Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of that retake, and DV, again, another good hit. But Khan is just so sharp, playing around crates. And then Shuni, along with, I believe, somebody towards the end there, having the discipline to not really just over-peak out, overheat. It enables them to play together in that 2-on-1 scenario. And with that, the tables have turned. Dax, DV need to save up in this round.
I mean, the mid-rounding has been solid here from NYX, even in the first map. And I feel like that's such a good point there, Quack. Assessment of what the situation is. No need to overheat. We can win just if we play things right.
I even thought she might throw out the incendiary, but not needed. Now they're just doing the same thing, Dax. Look at the positioning. Entirely symmetrical to what we saw from the previous round. They're just waiting for Deviant Topaz to make a move, to make the first mistake.
We have so many set positions here for NYX, and it's up to Deviant Topaz to sniff those spots out. Here we go again. I'm always scared to see Deviant Topaz do that. It was dangerous on the B site last round. At least this time, Yuna gets away with it.
All right. They managed to evade some of those shots from Khan. But that means they're going to walk into this crossfire setup, and look, the door's already been opened up. They surely are aware of this, but somebody, she's just going to send out the flash.
What was that? Look at the reaction from Delvisky. Just not flashed whatsoever, prepared for it. And suddenly, the mastery really from NYX right now off the map is pretty apparent, Quack. They go for a fast lane also just to use it as a pseudo viper wall. Somebody with a second, keeping the door open, and it's just absolutely a shutdown. NYX with a flawless round 2.
It's another one of those rounds, Dax. We saw this, but it's like on a completely different side now, especially since NYX Kyosei are starting out on defense and on a map pick that isn't their own. They've just been setting up for all of these positions, waiting for Deviant Topaz to walk into their crosshairs and straight into the massacre. And like you mentioned about it as well, that anti-flash positioning from Delbisky, Deviant Topaz tried, but unfortunately it was not meant to be, not yet.
I'm just looking back at the history here for NYX on this map, honestly. And they've been running the chamber, they've been running the Cypher, and now they go for the Killjoy. Maybe it's a Sentinel Roulette, but this time around they're finding success with their setup so far here.
And she's on a Bucky. Okay.
Did you see the motivational speech beside her?
No, I did not. What is it?
Less stalking, more doing.
with the Bucky.
Yes, do it with the Bucky. Casters, be quiet. They're gonna push towards B.
Okay. They're pushing.
Deviant Topaz though, okay. They have ultimates to work with. We're going back into the base. But somebody again. There's Tub though with the entry. Still though hit by the flashes. And from this point on, NYX are still keeping tabs of where DV's coming from. Deviant Topaz, they have these plans, but they just can't get those steps to go their way. Yuna though with the scrap, but Shuni's there to single her out. And with Puda all alone now, it's still Piety with the Bucky, so a chance here for Puda if ever. Picks up the spike, but Piety goes for the Bulldog instead. It's even the bite with the bark, and NYX right now with the 5th.
And along with that, rifles and everything picked up along with it as well. They could even go for an operator if they wanted to, but honestly, why do that if you're playing the Neon, right? And it's just a flourishing economy. That's the biggest factor. The momentum is building up. I said it, and then they went for the operator tags.
Oh.
Okay. I'm curious to see this now because we have seen players pull this off before, like Garnett's from Talon Esports. But right now, it's another one of those factors that They continuously stagger DV's approach into sites, and with that, DV cannot go for their full executes.
In fact, they're aggressive with the up. They're gonna go for the push. Buddha though, finding Shuni, and this time around, this will call for Tub to try and clear Arcade instead. Hunter's Fury though, the call gets tagged. Tub wants to play aggressive, and it's Piety playing Protector. NYX again keeping tabs of one another, but CJ at least finds the sheriff shot to go. Scrap yet again all across the map, but eventually the gun advantage is absolutely clear. NYX already still standing with 3. Yuna tried to circumvent the forces by going to the other side of tower. But the problem is, the spike's already being defused. The fast lane is set yet again. Halfway for Piety already. Here comes Delbisky, and some bodies there to at least catch the last kill. Another win here for NYX.
It is a perfect catch, you know, just tossing it right up into the air. But also Delbisky with her movement, like she knew that Yuna was looking at her, so she didn't even like try to shoot back. She was b-hopping around at the same spot just to throw it off. And that's that coordination now that we're seeing from NYX Kyosei. That's now NYX Kyosei with their early round aggression finally paying off, especially because it is Fracture and it works a treat for them. This is what they were trying to do on their defensive half of Haven, and it's working out better now. 6-1. If they can keep this up, it will be devastating for DV.
You're running in with the operator and the overdrive, and look at the bait and switch goal.
Okay.
But Deviant Topaz, they're prepared for this kind of contact. CJ Yuna sure with a fight, but here we go. They're suppressed into the corner, and now they're thrown into the pits of Fracture. Everything's left to Buddha in a 1v3. Nanoswarm sure in the way. She crosses, but you mentioned it, Quack. The spike is in the hands of NYX now.
I don't know what to say. I don't know how you win this round now. I mean, I'm thinking about the win conditions, but look at the positioning from NYX. They're guarding that thing. 3 players, like Cerberus, blocking the gates of hell.
Absolutely, and the underworld might be beckoning the final member of Deviant Topaz here. It's even worse because there's a messenger to already call that action. The Aldrone gets a spot. It again is trying to be pesky. The Aftershock even. Well, Asphodel calls, it's looking pretty fiery now. Buddha, can she even find any more contact? Nanoswarm, I like the effort, you love to try. But with the 3 standing in front of her, eventually, okay, she gets the kill. 1 bullet left into the chamber. Time running out. Might be a save. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the round. NYX again. The Stranglehold looking strong. It's a reload though. She can go for it, but not gonna happen. NYX takes the round. Look at Khan even confirmed the round by rappelling away.
Dude. Oh my god. And it's painful. There's no other word to describe this. DV, they're trying to adapt, and that's why you see them just kind of holding positions, holding angles, especially slight off angles, up around the bridge side attacker spawn. But even though they managed to take down Delbisky and everyone else, somebody one is popping off. The Rolling Thunder peeking out, and then a couple of supports coming up from Satellite Dish as well. It's just Deviant Topaz, and they're not having a good time. You gotta admire how Buddha was not backing down though.
Quack, have you ever had those old cell phones without the touchscreen?
Where's this going?
Okay, so repeat after me.
Some.
B. D.
D.
The D. No, that's it. The D and the 1 is D. It's like old text where you use numbers for letters.
Is that what it is?
It probably is.
Dude, I'm
honestly.
so blind. Just a couple of days ago, it was shoe knee spelled like a shoe on your foot, and knee is in like your kneecap. And I really thought that was just her name.
Well, there you go. I guess
I'm a moron. I don't know why I have this
No,
job.
you're not. I think it's just me showing my age by this point. But unfortunately for DV, I think there's one thing really to talk about is something we mentioned a while ago. Toppy Walkie's having a tough game. She hasn't gotten any kills yet, and we've seen the performance of DV really be amplified when she is online.
That's always the thing. But right now, they're just not allowed to set up for anything at all. Going in though, and DV are just kind of able to swarm the site. But just say that Shuni!
One
She
enemy
held
remaining.
W and she found 3. Sakura sure with the answer, and somebody and Piety regroup. Just what happened in that round? How do you just hold W and still get 3 kills?
Perfectly timed peek out of that sky smoke, Dax. And now Toffee, it's a 1-on-2. It's not impossible. She has a lot of time. It's just that she is not sure if the spike's being guarded.
And NYX is actually rotating so far away. This is gonna be a long rotate to go into halls, if ever. And will Toffee Waffy be prepared for this? We single it out.
Ult.
Yeah, she has her ult, yeah.
Got the spike.
But we know she's good for it if she can find her footing. Hasn't gotten a
30
kill yet.
seconds left.
The captain now looking to steer the ship back on its
Oh,
right
man.
course. And she's moving into main. Maybe catch
no.
out these holes. Timing might be perfect for Toffee Waffy in the lineup for her. She gets on the board and she brings the clutch to Deviant Topaz. Toffee Waffy, she'll deliver.
Absolutely lined up and gift wrapped for Toffee Waffy to rip them apart, Dax. That just came down to close contact and unlucky for NYX because they lined up perfectly. And right now, I mean, you know, we were thinking about the Rolling Thunder. She gets to save that for the next round. Another round on the board for Deviant Topaz.
We point it out because we know how important it is, and that's the biggest example of it. When it comes down to the clutch, it's Captain Toffee Waffy who's always prepped for it. And Deviant Topaz, it's a breath of relief here, Quack. They're moving now to go for the split play. Perhaps Tub can go for the blastbacks to get the drop on the opposition. The Rolling Thunder though the answer. Well executed here by Deviant Topaz, and now they're looking more like themselves.
Yeah, especially with the ultimate. NYX Kyosei, though, not backing down. They've built up quite a bit of bank, so they're still going to go for it anyways, I think. Operator still in the hands of Khan, so she might be able to find line of sight, especially with this owl drone. Shuni will peek out.
Junie dancers. NYX again evening up the odds. The lockdown's there though, but the orbital strike at least to blow it that up to Kingdom Come. Puda playing towards halls. You still have the drop also from DV. So a crossfire set, if ever, on the post plant. Shock Dart also just confirm that there's no more utility. Con on the defuse. Here comes CJ with the swing. Beautiful prioritization.
remaining.
DV giving themselves such a good chance. And it's up to Puda now from the stats. Piety trying to fight on back. But Puda will just throw her out. DV again. They're looking to build a bit of momentum here.
And it's starting to mount up. This is exactly what DV needed. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for them. And it is just a little bit simple. A spike plant. You know, once they are able to go in for an execute, maybe off of the Rolling Thunder, which granted doesn't come every single round, but if they're able to create that space on the site and then set up for their post-plant positions, they are always good for it. Look at how Puda held along with her teammate there, and NYX Kyosei wasn't quite able to go in for the defuse. Yes, they tried to stick it, but that said, still, 3 players all fell to that. So here it comes, Tub pushing in, creating a space for them on the B site.
And you can feel it already, the synergy from the playbook. Things looking a bit more attuned here for Deviant Topaz, but suddenly Piety will throw a wrench into those plans. There's the first, even a second. Yuna does get finally that kill, but NYX will use that as a pivot point to fight back. Suddenly the scrap into the clash, and NYX will be strong in those scenarios.
Just a full-on brawl,
Last
Dax.
round
They
for the
just
switch.
kept throwing bodies in, staggering DV once again. It starts off with Tub falling to Piety, but everything else following along with it because every single player peeking out, just ensuring that Deviant Topaz would not have a bit of room to breathe. And with that, the round win, it's another potential 9-3 first half, Dax. I'm not sure what to think about it anymore.
NYX, they made that B site basically a boxing ring. If that was the Philippines, they would have said that was Ace Hardware instead. But anyway, that's such a local reference. NYX right now, they have the orbital strike at least. A chance perhaps here for Deviant Topaz, already sniffed out by Khan. Tub can't even get the space she wants to work with. Lockdown's gonna be there, but Khan doesn't care. 2 for her as she moves towards the site. Lockdown broken as Khan is ready for even more. Puda trying to play towards the ropes, but NYX is just prepared with any angle. Nice peek from Yuna. Puda also playing, at least with her. From this point on, it's a 2v3. And NYX are gonna try to come from main.
One
tap
enemy
here, Quack,
remaining.
and suddenly
Oh my
Shuni
God.
will
Spike
take
down
that
B.
as a call to action. They were just trying to bait the peak there, but Deviant Topaz is all alone now with Puda.
Ridiculously confident. And Puda now, another 1-on-3 situation. The spike dropped. It's similar to what we saw from before, just on a different site. And I'm really, again, not sure. She's got a bit of utility that she can work with. The turret perhaps to receive the initial contact. Now a 1-on-2. This is not impossible, Dex.
Well done here by Puda, but the odds stacked against her. Delbisky watching towards
seconds left.
tower. Seems like Shuni wants to help out the same angle as well. Can't isolate the angle, but
remaining.
Delbisky doesn't get the shot. 3 for Puda, 30 HP though. 1 bullet gonna be enough perhaps. Here comes the turret also to help her out in the pinch. Shuni, he's gonna break that down. Nano Swarm at the ready. Time running out. Someone needs to swing, and it's Shuni who will take the step ahead. We move to a 9-3 standing in favor of
Switching
NYX.
sides.
Let's throw it over to the panel to see how that went down.
Thank you, gentlemen. NYX winning that pistol and looking like they have some pretty good momentum coming off of that map number 1 win, carrying that into this map 2 first half. Zach, what do we think?
Momentum for sure. Like, they were just sweeping through their opposition through most of that half. It took a lot of individual clutches for the side of Deviant to really get on the board and try to steal a little bit of their thunder back. But throughout, right, NYX, they look so much more aggressive, so much more scrappy. All of these sites, like so many of these rounds, it just came to those fights onto site, and it seemed like NYX, their spacing and the way that they set up these fights for themselves with utility, just they came out on top almost every single time.
Right, well, Deviant Topaz at 4 rounds to elimination from this entire year of game changers. How do they turn it around? Who's got to step up?
I think that with that side swap coming in on defense, they do look a little bit more confident. I think that while Toffee Waffy was able to get that huge clutch, compared to how the other initiators on NYX were setting up their duelists, I think that both Toffee as well as, I believe, Yuna will have to step it up a little bit, you know, really enable Tough to get those entries and create some pandemonium on site. Otherwise, it's looking a little bit tough for Deviant.
Looking a little bit tough indeed for Deviant Topaz. Well, boys, take it away.
Tough, a bit of an understatement to Zach and Jenny. I do have to say though, for Deviant Topaz, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. You can see the plans, Quack. You know that they have these executes, but NYX is not just a step ahead of them, but just a sharp shot away to even more success.
Ridiculously sharp as well. I mean, even in that final round before the swap, you can see the confidence coming out from Puda, surely, but maybe a tiny moments of hesitation, and then Shuni has been just popping off. 19 kills now as a controller. Sure, it wasn't on the defensive side, but now they just keep on going for it.
Might be in trouble. At least though, the rest of the roster there to help her out. And NYX, they can't swing of that. That's many members. Do they force the issue? Seems like that's the
Spike
case.
down
And they'll
B.
be punished accordingly. Yuna gets 2. Here comes
Oh.
Yuna with another one. Looking online. Kondo has
player
taken their
standing.
talents towards tower. And suddenly, it's Yuna getting 4 in response. Kon versus the world right now. It's a 1v2 situation. And Kon gets another one. Kon just jiggles and the taps. Will it be enough here? Puda down below gets back into cover. The pressure already mounting to a boiling point, and it's Kona yet again taking center stage. The high ground, the best count, and she's able to drop Puda at the end. 4 for her to clutch it out.
How did she do that? Just all the way from top of tower, jiggling in and out, and then with the Ghost versus Classic, I guess. It just cannot feel good for Deviant Topaz right now. 3 pistol rounds won by NYX Kyosei, and a huge lead that they just lost. They almost made that pistol round doable until Khan arrived.
I'm so surprised she even made it to tower so quickly. But even better, she just kept being so oppressive. Puda had to keep dropping lower and lower, even towards tunnel. And yet again, NYX, it's just a statement made for these rounds here, Quack. They're so strong at going for that contact. The flash comes in. Yuna trying to go for the pop. Delbisky's ready for it. Kon yet again keeping up with the same momentum. It's back out towards the halls. Delbisky with another one. And overall, NYX has this site already in the bag.
She even had the sense to like just back up into B main for a second, allow for Delbisky to come out a drop. And it's just, again, like you mentioned, just as we went into this half, you can see that Deviant Topaz has plans. They were trying to hold certain positions, trying to play, you know, pop flash with Yuna. But everything that NYX Kyosei does just counters them. They're so sharp, so good, so confident right now because of the momentum in their wings. 11-3 is what we have. And if this round goes NYX Kyosei's way, that just might be it.
Yeah, this has just been NYX Kyosei making sure that DV has no moment to rest. These last 2 rounds, Quack, have been so incredibly quick. Waffy trying to go for the fault line, but it's a bait. Instead, that spike is headed towards A.
Look at DV now. Everyone's backing up all towards defender spawn. Keep in mind, this is big pressure for Deviant Topaz because it is the lower bracket. They lose this and they are out. They need this round, Dex.
They need so at least to find their footing into the second half. It's looking perilous here for Deviant Topaz. They go for the Trailblazer though, and Tub yet again looking for the clear. Big pick from Yuna to begin the action. Yuna with another one. She's been reliable so far, but somebody is at the ready for the 2. CJ's there to make the trade work. It's 2v3, and from the drop, that's where NYX will be. They'll visit Piety. Do they have the angle trying to ping that spike? Look to at least try and kill Tub. Delbisky though gets 2 so far. Over onto the high ground yet again, and a triple even! With a Bulldog in hand, bonus is 1, and the series point is theirs. They're 1 away from moving on even more so.
That was just that. That might have been the round. Timeout now. Desperately being called by Deviant Topaz. And although they had such a good lead coming into it, just trying to prepare for that push, even going in with a coordinated retake once the spike was down, and you saw Dax how NYX Kyosei held up on top of drop. The peaks coordinated together at the same time. Delbisky now showing up at the final moment. Despite, you know, whatever the kill score might be for whichever player, you have to admit that NYX Kyosei are on top of things.
Where was this NYX Kyosei over the past few days? This has just been them stepping up their game into unbelievable fashions. I thought the first series was already amazing. Now we're getting such a masterclass from NYX. And it's a heartbreaker for Deviant Topaz. You can see the effort, especially from Yuna, 17 kills. But right now, the plans are going awry. It's just not gelling together the way that they would like because they just don't have those moments to work with.
They really don't. They keep trying to create them, but it just hasn't really shown up yet. And at a 12-3, it's difficult, sure, but not impossible. They have to try. Tub going in for it.
She's looking for at least any kind of contact. She's just taking damage instead. Uda though, finding Piety. Here comes the transfer. Con! Come on! Queen Con coming. She's just such a monster right now. Delbisky also a delightful kill. And from this point on, Con gets another one. 3 already. Spike is planted. And the countdown to Deviant Topaz's destruction is set and perhaps done. 6 HP by the smoke. Hunter Fury is there too. And somebody will find the final one there. NYX, they just went through this map with absolute haste. Speedy delivery with the victory. It's NYX who moves on to the lower brackets.
Man, went through them like a hot knife through butter. I just can't believe it was that quick. I mean, Deviant Topaz, they fought tooth and nail. They managed to make it all the way here. They're a good team, and Waffy is the IHL. You've seen her impact. But right now in this final moment, all the way through to it, NYX Kyosei just showed how strong they are in that first half.
It's such a heartbreaker for Deviant. This roster, this team, they've made so many incredible waves in the past Open, here in the LCQ, and you can see that this roster has so much talent. But what did we just witness from NYX? The step up to the highest degree, Ultra Instinct, all of that jazz. Whatever your favorite anime is there, Quack. I have to say, the level up from NYX, just from that first half of Haven to the second half tier to Fracture, they are just absolutely on point today.
and it just really throws everything apart. I mean, NYX, Kyosei, they can keep up this form. Who knows what just might happen tomorrow? So you're gonna keep your eyes on FSL Game Changers.
Yeah, and guys, we're gonna throw it over to the panel after such a blitz of a series. NYX with such a well-deserved win. Let's see what the panel has to say after that one.
Heartbreaking loss for our Singaporean new kids on the block. They showed such promise in their first outing in Open 3 last month, making it to playoffs after just weeks of practice, and we were all so excited to see what this squad could do given a whole month of practice. Hopefully we do see these girls back next year, because this can't be the last time that we see them, Zach.
I really hope that isn't the case as well, because they've shown incredible improvements since the beginning, especially like you mentioned, that Open 3, really a team that took us all by surprise. So it's definitely going to be very sad to say goodbye to Deviant Topaz, but hey, I'm pretty sure that they'll be back for 2024 if this year is any testament. That said though, NYX, Kyosei, I feel like in the beginning, before the series started, and even after that first half, they looked like the underdogs, but man, by the time Fracture started, what underdog? What do you mean? It was just them speed running the map. It was like an any person should speed run. How quick can you do it? 10 minutes? Yeah, I gotcha.
100%, man. I mean, NYX had their number, just absolutely cleared Deviant Topaz on Fracture. And so taking a look at the post-match scores, you've got the MVP for the side of NYX. Kyosei is going to go over to Khan, 16-9 on Sova once again, and Shuni as well, posting some pretty good numbers. And post-plant, 3 out of 3 for NYX, 3 out of 4 for Deviant Topaz for the 3 rounds that they picked up in map number 2.
I mean, to be fair, NYX, I'm pretty sure that 3 out of 3 number might have been higher if they'd played more rounds, because they just kind of sped through that second half. I feel like we were just on the desk talking about the second half and the potential, and they were just like, oh, we're already done, back to us. But anyway, MVP gonna be Khan coming in once again. Map numbers 1 and 2, it's gonna be her stepping up. Really, you talked about the race outfit, and she was definitely in a race to end this map real quick and send her opponent focus. She was just going in, man. The utility, the sharpshooting, and all the multi-kills that she got. Incredible work coming out of Khan today.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. 2.7 KDA, close to 200 damage per round, over 30% headshot percentage as well. And yeah, this the headshot, this now that she's on Sova, it kind of, you know, matches the photo, the yellow background, the blue eyes. She's got it all. She's got the skill, she's got the style. Yeah, and I just can't wait, you know, to see more of this team going into tomorrow, because we've got 4 teams left in this LCQ for this time around. We've already said goodbye to Nana and friends, as well as Deviant Topaz, and we've only got 2 more series before we find out which 2 teams will make it into the Elite for next month.
Indeed, but I mean, that's the nice thing, right? We've already gotten through those elimination matchups. Right now, after this, I do believe we have our first decider series coming in to decide who will be moving on to Elite. But before that, just a few points that are interesting to look at for this particular series. I think that NYX, they came in as the underdogs. The last time these 2 teams faced off, they lost 0-2. To come back from that, and with their new players as well, I think that one of the additions to this team was Capricious for this tournament. And you know, when you talk about Filipino talent, I feel like Capricious is just one of those players that has been on a lot of teams, has gotten a lot of experience, and was just that missing piece to really push NYX to new heights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that these girls are playing up to their potential, that we saw them in the Swiss qualifier group stages. I believe they did finish second coming out of the Swiss groups. They only came in second after the Hero KDA, but, you know, had a bit of a mixed bag performance for day 1 as well as day 2. We were like, was the Swiss stage a fluke, or, you know, what was their real power level? And today, we found that out. Turns out their real power level is not to be sniffed at, and they participated previously in Open 2 and 3 as well. I believe they didn't make playoffs in either Open 2 as well. Open 3, you gotta give it to these girls, man. Just the grit, the tenacity to say, you know what, we haven't made it to playoffs yet for this year, but we're still gonna take part in LCQ and try to get those tickets. And I mean, it's like a really good possibility from here on.
I completely agree. And you know, when it comes to the game changer teams, I just feel like these Filipino players, they are aim goddesses. I don't know what they eat for breakfast there. We should get Dax back to really ask him some questions about this. But that said, they
Dax can't
just
cook.
aim so insanely.
He's not gonna be helpful. I feel like, you know, I don't know, like microwave your water, stir your eggs or something. I don't know. We gotta ask.
Okay, we can make like a committee. We have like so much talent here that we can like really cross-check as to what exactly makes these Filipino players so cracked at the game. And NYX Kyosei, as a fully Filipino roster, they're definitely doing their region proud with the kind of performance that we've had today. In particular, you know, heading into this, I was thinking it was going to be a scrappy 3-map fest. It would go all the way. TV and Topaz, they seem to have a little bit of an advantage, and NYX was just like, oh, Zach, you're wrong. Please go back to the drawing board because we're here to win. And I think map 2 was a record. Like, for this tournament, I know we had a 13-0, but I think this was even faster than that, and that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, all right, what's the hot new anime we're watching right now? I gotta know where to pull my references from. Bleach, yeah, sweet. All right, so this team just in that 2 just bankai the heck out of there and just speed run into that 2. Oh, I'm a weeb. I'm so
Con
sorry.
was just taking names in her Death Note, man. Every round she was like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, easy.
She was like playing Valorant with her hands and writing Death Note with her feet, you know?
Yeah. That's how it felt. You will die from a headshot. Your teammate will also die from a headshot. Oh, another person will die from a headshot. That's it.
Yo, do you follow? This is a bit niche. I understand. Tower of God. There's like a girl with like this superpower, which is she has a book, and anything that she writes in the book, like the only limit is her imagination, and whatever she writes comes true. So you know, who knows? Maybe a little something. I don't know, man. I'm sure.
I mean, that's where the anime got the idea from. It's Con.
Holy, she's been the main character all along, but I don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure it's talent and skill and aim labs and just practice for these girls. Guys, I believe we are still waiting for our English interview. We will have that coming up for you guys very shortly. Of course, the winners interview, it's always a treat to get to speak to the girls, and we're always so grateful, you know, like in the middle of that busy Game Changers schedule, like they could be going out to like team dinner, they could be prepping for their like matches tomorrow, but they're still taking their time out of the day to talk to us. It's always nice to hear.
It's probably one of my favorite parts of casting Game Changers. Like right
Same.
after the game, you know, you talk to the girls and they're just like these beasts on the server, and then you come off and they're like giving you these little hearts. Especially,
oh my god,
I think that in particular, the one who exemplifies this the best is Ineri. Like, you know, you see her on the Jet, you see her on the Chamber, whatever she ends up playing, she drops like 40 kills, just another day at work, and then you come off and she's like the most angelic person ever. It's just the sheer contrast.
I mean, you gotta get you a girl who can do both, right? I mean, she's not the only one, right? You've got Kuhaibi as well.
Oh, yeah.
You watch her stream and she's like so soft-spoken, and then you watch her play and you're like, is this like
that's my
Jing?
cipher.
Like, wait a minute, where are these players coming from? Tara as well. I remember she used to do her interviews with her bunnies in the background. Like, dang, I just love it. And whenever, like, when you interview one of the members, I feel like you get
there's always a couple more.
Yeah, there's always a couple like in the background, and they're like, oh, we're too shy to do the solo interview ourselves, but we're gonna like annoy the heck out of our teammate while she's doing the interview. I love that.
Yeah, I think that the best example of that would be our very own Princess Alexi. She's always in the background, man. She's just like jumping around.
Yeah.
No matter who we're interviewing, Alexi is that background, that motivating presence to like add some flavor.
I mean, no matter whose interview it is, it's an Alexi interview. Come on, she's got to be the main character. I don't know, man. There are so many girls who just absolutely cracked in the circuit.
Oh, rip.
no.
That's some sad news. We were just hyping ourselves up and the chat up for the interview, and our hearts are broken.
I think we just heard from production. Unfortunately, we did have a Delbisky interview planned for you guys, but I think there's some tech issues and stuff on their side, so we won't be able to go through it. But I was so looking forward to talk to her about my favorite agent in the game, Neon, on Fracture. But oh man, okay, we've heard enough about me gushing over Neon every single time that it's picked. But guys,
Hey, if she's Neon, it's okay. We all gush over Neon. It's completely understandable. She's like that Zoomer kid in me that really comes out at the most inopportune times, for real.
yeah, but guys, with that being said, the day is not yet done. We've still got MLT Esports Game Changers going up against Neons in that best of 5 upper bracket finals match for straight qualification into Game Changers Elite. We'll see you right after this break.